Is plant-based protein better than whey? And my answer to this is very simple. Absolutely freaking not. Whey protein is way better at number one, raising your chronic inflammation levels. Number two, raising your chronic disease risk. Number three, destroying our planet. Number four, hurting sentient beings. And number five, it's okay. I just want to make a nice intro for you guys. But today I'm going to explain you the differences between the plant-based protein and the whey protein, and which kind of those two protein sources you should opt for when you're looking to build muscle, when you're looking to achieve other goals with your fitness, and if protein is actually necessary for you personally. Okay, so I've been in the fitness industry for 6 years. I've been seeing behind the curtains. I was a manager, now I'm a coach. So I can explain you exactly what you need to do to look out for when it comes to optimizing your health and fitness. So just give me a couple of minutes of your time. All I ask in return is smash the like button so this channel here stays in good favor of the YouTube algorithm gods. Let's just jump right into it. Number one, what we need to understand about whey protein and plant-based protein is that they're not really required if your goal is not specifically to build muscle. If your goal is to just live a normal existence, normal healthy existence, and not looking and you're not going to the gym, then you don't need to take a protein shake. You know, it's not required. If you go into the gym or if you're aiming to lose weight only, then it's not really required. You know, it's not one of the main supplements you need to be going for. Especially when it comes to weight loss, protein can actually be counterproductive. Because number one, it has a lot of calories, 100 to 150 calories per scoop that you take. And number two, it's not really that filling compared to other protein sources, you know, because it's liquid, which means one of the way that our body actually sees that what we're eating is filling up, is making us full, making us feel like satiety, is by the expansion of our stomach. Now, if a substance or if something that we eat, something that we ingest is orally is a liquid, then it doesn't expand our stomach as much. Therefore, it doesn't have as big of a satiety response as other sources. Whereas, for example, kidney beans or tofu, for example. This is the number one thing. Realize the protein for you is maybe not even required. And most people will not tell you this, but I'm not affiliated with a protein powder company. I really have nothing to gain from this. But really, it's a good chance you probably don't need protein supplement at all. You need to take protein in with your diet, but naturally you do this naturally. Very few people, I think I've never heard of one single case of a person that is protein deficient. But I've heard of plenty of cases of people that take too much protein and then they gain a lot of excess weight. So they become overweight or they become obese even because they eat too much protein. The second thing, I realized that a lot of the things that kind of differentiate like whey protein for plant-based protein are kind of marketing claims. It doesn't really matter if one scoop of a protein powder has like 3 grams of protein more. it's like if you can build about 10 kilos of muscle mass in a year if you're starting out. This is massive. This is probably genetically maximum. You know, there's some good studies about this. And only about 2 kilos of those 10 kilos of muscle that you build are actually protein structures. About 8 kilos is water. You know, so those 2 kilos that actually build up in pure protein, it's in a year, if you combine it, if you divide this by 365, it's a very few extra grams that you need per day. So there's 3 grams difference between one scoop of this, or this protein powder has 10% more protein. It doesn't make a huge difference. Also, like the claim that whey is more complete than, for example, pea protein. It doesn't make a huge difference too, because your liver is capable of storing the protein that you have from different foods and then combining it as necessary for the goals that you want to achieve. You know, that's how simple as it is. You know, so the claim that one protein is more complete or one protein has like 3 grams or 2 grams more doesn't really make a lot of sense. So this is the second point that I want to bring across. And the third point, which is very important to consider. So if amount of protein, like if it's 2 or 3 grams difference, doesn't really matter. and the combination, like the completeness of an amino acid or the bioavailability doesn't really matter that much, then what matters? What matters is how high, like if it raises inflammation levels in your body. Protein, like from animal sources, is more likely to raise your inflammation level. Actually, like animal protein, it has the same like insulin response, which is tied to like cancer development long term, as pure sugar. So it's probably not the best protein that you should be going for. Also, like when it comes back to pro-inflammatory responses on the substances that we eat, animal protein is very high on that. You know, so these are the other factors that you need to be considering. Also, animal protein compared to a plant-based protein, like whey protein compared to plant-based protein. Whey protein takes way more land than a plant-based protein because you actually need to have cows. And yes, there are some cows that are just used for like cheese and dairy production because it's a big industry, which means it takes way more land because the cows also need some like food, you know, like soybeans, and then you have cows, and you have, yeah, it's just like it takes way more land than like a plant-based protein. You know, you also for a plant-based protein, you also need to kill like an animal for it. So if you have the choice, if you know that number one, let's say you want to go for protein powder, and if you know that like the second point that we brought across, that like a 2 or 3 grams difference in protein doesn't really matter for you building up muscle, and that the completeness of protein also doesn't really matter because your liver is capable of storing the protein and then using it for their benefit, you know. So what matters is, or like if we know this, and then we know that okay, there's huge difference when it comes to the land use. There's a huge difference when it comes to your health long term, like between the two supplementation practices, and there's a huge difference when it comes to the ethics or moral considerations. Then the conclusion to this is probably more likely, or it's like more favorable if you would go for a plant-based protein. So the short answer to this is yes. Plant-based protein is better than whey protein, but not for the reasons that you might think. More for the other reasons that you can't see on the labeling package. Okay? So if you like this video, smash the like button. If you want to see more of this video, subscribe to more of these videos, subscribe to this channel. And if you want to get coached by me, help vegan professionals lose 5 pounds or more while increasing their muscle mass, you should go to qualitygains.com, watch the free training, and if you want, schedule a free consultation with me. Okay guys, see you next time.